The Roman Empire did not conquer the world with legions alone. It conquered it with money, a standardized currency system that stretched from Britain to Egypt, turning distant provinces into one massive economic machine. To understand how Rome functioned, you have to understand how Roman money actually worked. Rome used three main coins made from silver, brass, and copper. The denarius was the backbone of the system, a small silver coin about the size of a modern dime, weighing roughly 4 grams. This was the standard unit for military pay and major transactions. The sestertius was brass, larger and heavier, and used for most daily spending. When ancient writers quoted prices, they usually used sestertii. The as was a small copper coin used for low-value purchases. A loaf of bread, a cup of cheap wine. The exchange rates were fixed and simple. 1 denarius equaled 4 sestertii. 1 sestertius equaled 4 asses. That meant 1 denarius was worth 16 asses. Soldiers and civilians alike could break down their money at any changer in the forum. Wages reveal how this system worked in real life. A Roman legionary under Augustus earned about 225 denarii per year. That's roughly 900 sestertii annually, or a little over 2 sestertii per day, after deductions for food, clothing, and equipment. A skilled craftsman, like a carpenter or mason, earned more. Around 1 denarius per day, maybe 300 to 400 denarii per year if work was steady. An unskilled laborer earned far less. 3 to 4 sestertii per day, barely enough to survive. Many lived one missed meal away from hunger. Prices put those wages into perspective. A 1-pound loaf of bread cost about half an as. Cheap wine cost 1 as per litre. Better wine ran 2 to 4 asses. A simple tunic cost around 15 sestertii. A cow might cost 100 to 200 sestertii. A healthy adult slave could cost anywhere from 500 to 6,000 denarii, depending on age and skill. These numbers tell you everything. A soldier could afford food and wine. A laborer lived hand to mouth. The wealthy operated in an entirely different economy. Most Romans carried their money in small leather pouches tied to their belts. Coins clinked as you walked. There were no paper notes, no checks, no banks in the modern sense. Markets ran on cash. You handed over coins, merchants bit or weighed them to test authenticity, and trade was done. Counterfeiting was common enough that everyone checked. For large transactions, Rome relied on professional money handlers called argentarii. They operated from benches in the forum. That's where the word bank comes from. These men exchanged currency, stored deposits, and issued loans. Wealthy Romans didn't carry massive sums on their bodies. Their money was heavy and often moved by servants or pack animals. Loans were a normal part of Roman life. Interest rates were legally capped at 12% per year, but lenders often found ways around the law. People borrowed to start businesses, buy land, pay taxes, or fund political careers. Senators invested by loaning tens of thousands of denarii to merchants shipping grain or luxury goods, taking a share of the profits. Debt was not shameful, it was expected. Taxes were the empire's lifeblood. Rome collected land taxes, poll taxes, customs duties on goods crossing provincial borders, a 5% inheritance tax, and even sales taxes in some regions. Tax collection was often outsourced to private contractors called publicani. They paid Rome up front for the right to collect taxes, then extracted as much as they could for profit. They became rich. They were also universally hated. Most taxes had to be paid in coin. That forced even small farmers into the money economy. To pay Rome, you had to sell surplus crops for cash. The entire empire was monetized whether people liked it or not. Over time, emperors began to cheat. The denarius under Augustus was about 95% pure silver. By 200 AD, it was closer to 50%. By the late 3rd century, it contained almost no silver at all, just a thin coating over copper. Wars were expensive. Building projects were expensive. Keeping the population calm with free grain and games was expensive. So emperors minted more coins with less silver. The result was inflation. Prices rose. Wages lagged behind. Soldiers were paid in coins that bought less and less. Eventually, people stopped trusting money altogether. They demanded payment in goods or old coins with real silver. The system that once unified the empire began to tear it apart. Roman money was more than currency. It was infrastructure. It paid armies, fed cities, moved goods, and bound provinces together. When people trusted it, the empire functioned. When they didn't, it fractured. Money, not swords, held Rome together.